Have you ever wondered how on earth the pyramids of Giza were built? It's a real head-scratcher question, and one that you might find the answer to during your time in Cairo. But when you actually see the pyramids for yourself, it might leave you with even more questions. Now, the pyramids aren't the only interesting thing in Cairo. Whether you're visiting to just see the pyramids or for a general holiday, I'll be showing you some of the best attractions, hotels, and restaurants to check out during your time here. Attractions, things to do. The pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx. It goes without saying that you absolutely need to visit the pyramids during your time in Cairo. Standing right in front of the pyramids of Giza, the mighty Khufu, Khafre, Menkaure is absolutely surreal. These structures are even huger in person than what you see on TV. Honestly, walking up to them feels like a journey through history. And the Sphinx is mesmerizing too. Mosque of El Hakim. There are many mosques that you can visit during your time in Cairo, but this one really caught my attention. Let me tell you about Caliph al-Hakim. He's one of the most fascinating rulers Egypt has ever had. This Fatimid leader was intense. He had this reputation for ruling with an iron fist, doing all sorts of wild things. He'd frequently off his royal staff, take nighttime rides on a donkey dressed like a regular person, just to check if his people were behaving. Oh, and he made these strange rules, like banning people from eating molokhaya. That's the Egyptian mallow leaf, just because he wanted to be the only one enjoying it. Now, his mosque, finished up in 1013 CE, has seen some serious action over the years. It's been a madrasa, a crusader fortress, and even a psychiatric hospital. Talk about a makeover. In the 1980s, it got a complete facelift. The coolest bits, check out the minarets. They were originally round, but after a big quake in 1303, they got a makeover with square casings and these dome things on top that look like Arab incense burners. And this mosque sits right between two important gates. Bab el-Futuh, Gate of Conquests, is on the western side, and Bab el-Nasr, Gate of Victory, is on the east. Both are kind of like those old Roman town gates and were built back in 1087. If you're up for a stroll, you can walk from Al-Azhar Mosque to the Mosque of Al-Hakim. Just follow Al-Muriz Lidin Allah Street all the way north. The Egyptian Museum. The Egyptian Museum got a facelift not too long ago, and it's a treasure trove. Sure, they moved Tutankhamun's things, but there's still so much history in every corner. After wandering through, I'd recommend Felfila, which is the perfect spot for a post-museum feast. You can sit and relax there, reflecting on everything you just saw, enjoying some delicious local dishes. Walk like an Egyptian tour. This tour almost feels illegal, but it's not. It's just super exclusive. On this tour, you can see the Sha'ar Hashemayim Synagogue, a hidden gem that's usually off-limits. You can also see the Abdeen Palace, which is mind-blowing. Walking through that palace, you feel like you've cracked the code of Cairo's history. And Al-Mu'izz Street is a stroll through history and culture. The buildings, the stories. It's like Cairo's soul laid bare. You'll love every bit of it. The National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. Seeing the royal mummies paraded through Cairo at this museum is a surreal experience. That golden coffin of priest Nejamank will give you goosebumps. It's like you're touching Egypt's soul. Every artifact, every display. It's like you're on a journey through Egypt's rich tapestry. You definitely leave with a deeper connection to its incredible history. Khan el-Khalili. If you're into shopping, Khan el-Khalili is like hitting the jackpot. This souk, or bazaar, is a maze of narrow alleyways that was turned into a shopping district back in 1400 CE. Even today, the air is filled with the sounds of metalworkers and silversmiths doing their thing. While the main streets are all about catering to tourists, think cheap papyrus pictures and plastic pyramids, the real gems are hidden in the surrounding alleyways. These tiny stores and crowded workshops are the go-to spots for picking up traditional products in Egypt. You'll stumble upon everything from antiques to beautifully crafted metal lampshades and locally woven textiles. And when you're there, make sure to check out Fishawi's, Cairo's most famous coffee shop. It's a bustling spot where both tourists and local merchants get their fix of syrupy Arabic coffee and sweet tea in record time. For the serious shoppers, Al-Muski Street is the go-to, also known as Gewhar al-Qaid Street at its eastern end. The gold and silver workshops cluster just north of where this street meets Al-Mu'izz Lidin Allah Street, while the spice market is to the south. On the eastern side, you've got the Sayyidina El Hussein Mosque, a grand structure built in 1792 to honor the Prophet Muhammad's grandson. The easiest way into the Khan el Khalili action is from Al-Azhar Street, right across from Al-Azhar Mosque. Hotels. Conrad, Cairo. This hotel, right by the Nile, is pretty modern. It started welcoming guests in 1998, and this 24-story stunner adds a pop of color to Cairo's skyline. The rooms offer amazing views of the Nile that are just mind-blowing. Even if you're not a morning person, you'll want to get up every day just to catch that sunrise with the Nile view. The food and amenities are solid, but the best part is simply being by the Nile. Sofitel Cairo El Gezira. This hotel is smack dab in the middle of Cairo. Zamalek, where it's at, is surprisingly calm and green, even though the city around it is buzzing. The Sofitel itself is a huge, sandy-colored beauty with 27 floors. The best part? Every one of the 433 rooms comes with a killer view of the Nile. Waking up to that is just unreal, like getting a big dose of Cairo's charm in one awesome view. Marriott Mina House. This place has been a big deal since 1886, and trust me, it's totally worth the buzz. Step out of the hotel and boom. Giza pyramids are right there. Like they're your next-door neighbors you could borrow sugar from. Even Agatha Christie thought this place was cool, and I totally see why. The old-school feel, the celebration of history. It's like being in a time machine with a sprinkle of luxury. Restaurants. Andrea El Mariutea. This spot has been family-run since 1958. If you're a fan of grilled chicken that tastes like art, this is the place for you. They serve up incredibly juicy, flavorful chicken, paired with slightly charred bread and a variety of Egyptian mezze. It's a true feast with portions that won't leave you hungry. The courtyard atmosphere and panoramic views give it that extra special touch. I'd suggest dropping in for breakfast to soak in the local vibes. It's like a morning tradition for the folks around here. Fasahet Somaya. This is a cozy spot close to the Egyptian Museum. And when I say cozy, I really mean it. Chef Somaya greets you like a long-lost family member, and the blue and white decor adds a touch of Greek charm to Cairo. The real standout here is the Molokhia, practically legendary. It's not some high-end, fancy joint, it's quick, laid back, and all about that authentic Egyptian vibe. The menu is straightforward, centered around what the morning market has to offer. Abu Tariq. This place is a comfy, no-nonsense spot, not some fancy Michelin star restaurant, but it's a must-visit in Cairo. Whether you're a newbie in town or a local looking for familiar comfort, this is the spot. Why? Because of their kashari. Kashari is a delicious dish made up of rice, lentils, chickpeas, macaroni, vermicelli, all soaked in a tangy tomato sauce. Abu Tariq has been mastering this kashari dish since 1935. Honestly, this dish alone makes a trip to this restaurant totally worthwhile. Le Tarbouche. This is one of the 7 great spots to eat, drink, and have a good time on La Pasha 1901, a moored riverboat on the Giza side of the Nile. So this restaurant isn't playing around, they've got a fancy setup with Egyptian dishes that'll blow your mind. They have a classy dining room, live music, and performers doing their thing. They're pulling out all the stops with specialties like hammam mashi, which is basically grilled pigeon. Then there's hawaushi, a flatbread stuffed with ground beef, plus the usual mixed grill dishes and a ton of mezzi options. You can't leave without trying the extra-large disc-shaped falafel. It's like a flavor bomb. And their hummus is made with preserved lemon, giving it that extra zing. I can't promise that you'll know who or what built the famous pyramids, but I know that you'll have an incredible time in Cairo just learning and soaking in all its culture. If you enjoyed this video or found it handy, I'd really appreciate if you like and subscribe for more travel tips and inspiration.